just the fifth time we've played them this season, so a familiar opponent in every which way.
Yep, strange to play a team 5 times in a season. Obviously, even stranger on the back of the mix-up in the FA Cup, but a slightly different look to the opposition. I think they made 7 signings in January. Obviously, we've made the 2, but Oz isn't available, so our side won't look too dissimilar, apart from Kieran Phillips at the top of the pitch, whereas they've added some more good players to the good group they've already got. So we're under no illusions how difficult this weekend will be. The fact that we've played against them so many times, I don't think we'll have too big a bearing on this weekend. It'll be a different environment, different atmosphere. We're probably expecting the biggest crowd they've had in terms of those 5 fixtures, certainly compared to the FA Cup game. And it'll be a hell of a game of football. And we just want to produce our best display. And we've got to be mindful of what's leading into it in terms of the physical exertion of the players in the last couple of games.
Obviously, I think Bradford had been on a disappointing run, but they got a win on Tuesday and away from home as well. So obviously, you never know that we need to sort of prevent that from being the start of something for them.
Yeah, an outstanding team at this level, outstanding players, and picked up a really impressive victory on Tuesday night. And we've obviously watched that back. We've watched their previous home games, and we've tried to pick up as much as we possibly can in terms of prepping the players. But we've just got to concentrate on what's right in front of us. And first things first is a journey up there, a bit of training on the way up. The players are still in recovery mode at the moment, and that's absolutely fine as long as we start the game properly on Saturday and we're not still in recovery mode. Because the start of the game away from home, let alone at Bradford in front of 14,000 people, will always be a marker in terms of where we are physically and mentally. And we need to be right at it. We need to be so sharp in terms of our approach and quite bullish with our style of play as well. But we've got a little bit of confidence on the back of the recent run we've been on. But like I say, we're under no illusions how difficult it'll be this weekend.
And of course, there's that added thing now is the FA Cup game and disappointing attendance, but there's going to be 14,000, 15,000 there for the league game.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll add to that in terms of Exeter City Football Club. We travel so well in terms of the away fans, and they were in great voice on that FA Cup day, and they stayed with us right until the end. We didn't play well that day, and it was a pretty miserable day, so to speak, and a miserable performance, but somehow we stayed in the game and we got the rewards right really late on. And hopefully our fans are in good voice. I'm sure they'll get drowned to a certain extent by the 14,000 home fans. But that bodes towards or pushes towards or moves towards a good atmosphere. And that's what the players want to play. And we spoke about the atmosphere at Swindon last week and the fact that felt a proper game of football and a big game of football. And we're expecting the same this weekend.
If you look back to that period last year when we had the FA Cup game, then the replay, and it had to be replayed again, how do you compare the squad now to where we were then? Because obviously we've come through the other side of that COVID and an injury outbreak. How would you compare to see where the side is now?
Well, it's pretty similar in terms of personnel. Like I say, there's only Kieran directly who's different to the group of players we had. And we might be in a better place mentally because we've come through some difficult times in December and at the start of the new year in relation, certainly in terms of the COVID outbreak, the 17 players to get it in a space of 3 or 4 weeks and to everyone to miss certain periods of time from the training ground was incredible. And we all come back and we seem to be in a good place at the moment. Performances were where they needed to be, and we've added a few results to it recently. It's almost not a distant memory, but it feels like last year, all those games against Bradford and the first half of the season. And you can never cast your mind back too far at our level because you've always got to look back at what's next. And we can't even spend too much time enjoying the Leyton Orient game or the Swindon game because there's nothing better than winning games with late goals because we've got to fully focus on what's ahead of us this weekend. And if you take your eye off the ball in relation to what's next, you're dead in the water at our level.
Of course, there's this game and there's the Harrogate game on Tuesday. With that in mind, it is hard to change a winning team, I'm sure, but I imagine there's likely to be some form of squad rotation over these next 2 games.
Yeah, and you can call it what you will. Resting, rotation, dropping players, taking players out of the firing line, trying to get players to find their rhythm in their game. There's some, not a breaking point, but there's some under pressure in terms of their own bodies. There's some under pressure in terms of their own games as well. But that's what happens when you play so often. And the good thing is there's always another game to put it right in terms of certain performances. So the strength of the squad will be tested in the next few weeks. As it got tested on Tuesday night, as it got tested at the weekend, you want to be able to impact the game from the substitutes bench. We know that's absolutely key moving forward. But you also don't want to put anyone's at harm's way, and we were really mindful and cautious of how the group are performing in terms of their physical exertions. And this will be the first time that the whole host of that group of players have played 3 games in a week, and 3 big games on the back of that as well.
To end then, this week is EFL's Youth Development Week, obviously shining a light on youth development within the EFL. And obviously Exeter City, we're in a great place to talk about this. I think it's really important that the EFL are promoting young players, and I think the pathways available. Obviously, you've got experience of that, and I think it's important to say, you know, why the model that we have at the football club is so important to us.
Well, I mean, we don't have to talk about it. I think we just show it, in all honesty. We constantly give young players an opportunity, and that's not just young players for our academy. We recruit young players as well. We believe in it. Let's be honest, we have to do it because of the certain type of football club we are. We have to generate some sort of income from our playing squad. But as a manager, you've got to give them the opportunity, and then you've got to swim through a certain amount of unclear, muddied water at times, because there'll be an inconsistency in the players. But once they finally find their feet at our level, then they produce fantastic outputs, and then often produce a lot of money as well, which is huge for ourselves. So our stats, our record, our experience speaks for itself. And we've also got an academy which feeds through good players and good people. And if you've got a good person to start with, then we can fine-tune certain aspects and turn them into good players. But they need time, and any young players need time. But you'll have seen this week, managers lose their jobs because managers don't get time, and they certainly don't get time to invest in young players. So it's always a balancing act. And you also want your team to be competitive on a Saturday afternoon. No one's really spoke about it. Our team was a really young team on Tuesday night. I think there was 6 of that starting lineup, 23 and under, against a really experienced and physical Leyton Orient team, and somehow we found a way to outgun them towards the end. So it shows what we believe in, and Exeter City will keep on believing in that style of not only of play but of style of product, really. And let's be honest, it's brought in some fantastic figures back into the football club, but also there's a product on the pitch which is largely made up of young players from our academy.